First impression, wow, it is a cool view. So today I'm going to 8 Bishopsgate, the Lookout, which is this sort of new, I think opened last year, viewpoint that's free to book. I've booked about a month and a half ago. There's a long wait time from the time you book to actually get a free spot, but it's free, so let's not complain. Let's go and see what it's like. The weather today isn't the best, and I've booked it for 3:15 to kind of hope that maybe by the time I stay there till 4 o'clock there will be a nice sunset. I don't think there's going to be a sunset today, and I don't know how much I'll be allowed to use little tripods or my freeway heads to do a time lapse of something. And most importantly, I don't even know will I be able to use a lens skirt. And as it's all behind a window, you need a lens skirt. The monument behind me, that's always a cool view. Not too high, but it's cheap. You can't have a backpack there because the staircase up is just way too tight. So they're not really letting you take anything big there. But at least you shoot through the gaps of the netting, which makes a clearer image. And there it is. At the moment there's a building being built right in front of it, between the building and the Thames, which has a lot of cranes sticking out from it. So the view towards the Shard and Tower Bridge and the river is just all covered in cranes. But I'm really trying to look for positives here. So yeah, this should be a good view towards the east and the west from there. Also, I'm about 12 minutes late from my booking. I hope they do allow some grace time from where your booking spot was to when you actually arrive. First impression, wow, it is a cool view. However, the best bit is the fact, and I just spoken to the security guy and he said like, yeah, lens skirts and little tripods, obviously not to obstruct too much, are absolutely fine. We encourage photography here. Mind blown compared to all the other viewing platforms in London. I'm using lens skirts, I've just set up 2 time lapses. There are issues that I will get into in a moment, but yeah, the fact they actually encourage photography to get the nice photo from here is amazing. So the view is really cool here, but now let's discuss all the negatives of shooting here. Starting with double glazing. It's not ordinary double glazing. The 2 panes of glass are so far from each other that even with the biggest lens skirts that I've got, I can still see light leaking inside as well as reflections of all the window panels. So it is really, really difficult to get a wide angle shot here, and I can only imagine what it will be like when the light inside turn on. I'm sure it will actually leak into the time lapse that I'm shooting there on the 12mm full frame. Right, secondly, I will do it far away from the camera that I'm shooting there. These panels here, if you step on them, they will move. So if you have a tripod anywhere right by the window on these panels, if someone steps near to them, they will all shake.
Just like this lady who stood so close to the camera that not only she shook it, but she also managed to pan it somehow.
What about the positives, other than the views? Obviously the views here are nice. Well, it's free, so that's a positive. Well, the fact that you have to book it quite in advance and then you're completely relying on the luck that the weather will be nice, unlike me today. I think the lead times to when you get a booking will start slowly decreasing the moment it's getting less and less popular, as well as the fact that now in the city There's multiple free viewpoints that you can go and explore, and some of them you have to book and some of them you can just walk in. But it's worth to mention that while I was in the queue downstairs, while I was getting my spot to the elevator, there was actually a large group of people that were waiting and they didn't have the ticket, so they were actually trying to do a walk-in, which the security guy actually said that on a weekend it's quite hard to walk in. You might be waiting for a long time. However, between Monday and Wednesday, people who even walk in apparently go straight in. So if you can't wait and you're here on holiday, for example, try to get in here between Monday and Wednesday, probably in working hours rather than in the evenings, because again, that will be more difficult. Just noticed something else. Once the light come on, actually you get less reflection when you're shooting lower to the ground. Especially with a lens skirt, it does help, but even without a lens skirt, lower to the ground, you get less of the floor that's being illuminated from the top, reflecting in the videos or photo. Having a great experience so far. Now it's past sunset. The sky turning a little bit blue, so the transition, at least on the wide angle, I reckon will be all right. Not as busy here. The light leaking in and bouncing off the double glazing is pretty annoying, but think about the fact that it's free, so you're getting what you can. Sadly, the darker it gets outside, the more light they turn on inside, kind of like almost in phases. They just increase the amount of light in here, which makes it even more difficult. If you shoot to the side of the panels, to the left or the right, you're going to get a doubling of each building, especially at night time, to one of the sides. When you shoot through the middle, that's where sort of the doubling shadow of the double glazing, doubling effect, kind of reduces, and you get just one building in the middle. To the side, they will double up again. But at night time, if you're using longer lenses, and that's where the sort of doubling of buildings gets more prominent, shoot between the panels right in the middle of the window. So this is it. The place is closing now at 6 o'clock. So we're being told to leave around 10 to 6 so they can close downstairs at 6 o'clock. I've shot a couple of other time lapses where I used additional lens skirts to block the incoming reflections from around the first lens skirt, and even blocked it with my jacket above my bag from further away as I was shooting with a 50mm at a 45-degree angle almost towards the glass, which is never good, definitely more difficult when it comes to reflections. I think that's about it. I'm kind of curious how this time-lapse will turn out with a 12mm. I guess there's going to be a ton of reflections that crept in.
And yes, there was a lot of reflections as expected, as well as a lot of shake, and you're watching a stabilized version, so yeah, all the people who stepped on that floor panel probably shook their camera, not to mention they actually managed to somehow pan it. This second time-lapse, looking north towards the Shard and Elephant Castle on the right, came out a little bit better, but there's still a lot of shake and a lot of reflections, even after me stabilizing it. So yeah, shooting from the floor isn't the best idea. This next time-lapse came out actually surprisingly alright. There's a little bit of reflection that crept in, but I'm pretty happy with it. So is this one of Tower Bridge. Yes, there's vertical reflection going on, but it's actually a usable time-lapse.
So that concludes my visit. It's definitely a cool place. It's free. They let you use photography equipment, lens skirts and tripods. So even if you think of it as a challenge, hey, I want to go there and see if I can get a photo without reflection. Well, that's worth going anyway. And the different security downstairs to the one that I first walked in here said that actually between Monday and Friday, it's not as busy, and even walk-ins can just get a spot within minutes to go up. So yeah, definitely a thumbs up for the lookout at 8 Bishopsgate. Make sure you visit. See ya.